Good morning, children. We are welcome to SS class. Today we have to study chapter 12, the national movement, the second phase. Already we have studied the first phase. Today let us study the second phase. Second phase, the chapter 12, national movement of second phase. Now we are in the year of 1990-1947. That is one special year of in Indian history. The period national movement from 1999 and 97 is also referred to Gandhian era. Gandhian era. This is just a special method of freedom struggle. This year the freedom struggle. We go to the Indian independence day during this period, very struggle, Indian freedom for the struggle. With the arrival of Mahatma Gandhi on the politician horizons of India. Now it is the second time this period the Mahatma Gandhi came. Mahatma Gandhi's period this way. Mahatma Gandhi came and he was involved in all the meetings. Let us study about this brief history of the Mahatma. Who is Mahatma Gandhi? He was born in October 2, 1869, Porbandar, Gujarat. Gujarat, he born in Gujarat, Porbandar, place name Porbandar. October 2nd, 1869. Okay, he received early education in India. Early education is LP, UP, high school. He studied here. Then after he went to abroad, Africa. He went to South Africa to practice the law. He was a lawyer, advocate. He studied there law. Then 22 years he was there. 22 years he was working in the Africa. Then that time also he fight against for the white. There was a fight against the oppression of the white rulers against the Indians are living there. Then he understands something about the rules and the relations of India and the white. He returned to India 1915. He returned to India 1915. India, Mahatma Gandhi. Then he involved the concept of Satyagraha. Involved Satyagraha. You know Satyagraha, or the non-violent struggle. Non-violent, without fire or explosion or with a knife and apple. He is a non-violent person. He involved concept of Satyagraha or non-violent struggle operation. In this chapter, we had to study the second phase of national movement. Second phase of national movement. After returning to the Mahatma Gandhi, he travelled across the country. What situation? How is the situation of Indian people? It was privileged condition of India. He reached the conclusion that truly national struggle had to beyond the achievement of independence. It is needed independence for India. Needed independence. But after that, nothing. So he was trying to get the independence. This also had to reform society. He founded the Sabarmati Ashram near Ahmedabad and welcomed to people all caste and religious. He started one ashram to invite all the religious. There is no Hindu, Muslim, Christians, all the religious, the high caste, low caste, everybody. They gathered together. They welcome everybody. He called the people, lower caste Harijans, the people of God. He called the Harijans people of God, the God's children, like that he called. Gandhiji also worked to revive village crafts. He also went to the different villages for the small works, crafts, and also he started the khadi work, charka, using the charka, and he started many villages. He tried to charka popular. Charka means preparing in the house. We can prepare the clothes. What we can use in the house, we can prepare the mother charkas. And also khadi, he used the khadi cloth, the cloth, not polyester cloth, other type of cloth, the Indian khadi. So the popularized the symbol of self-reliance. We had to earn our food and our dress, everything. It was like that a very big power man. Now let us go to the next point. Now you understand the national movement of Gandhiji's small history. Who is Gandhi? From where? He who was he? We have already studied. He came 1815 here and started to national movement, and also he loved all the people, gathered together all the people. Indian people are one nation, one people, like that. His feeling was, he started like that. So now let us early combines. The method of Gandhi's advocated were so simple. His methods was very simple that even common people could follow them. His methods was very simple. Even small people, very normal. Even the common people can follow them. Yet, despite of simple, these measures were so effective that British had no solution to them. British people also, they can't do nothing because very simple march, satyagraha or going march, peaceful march, all these the only people they all can follow. So all guided by the Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi, and also he was the Gandhi started his first movement at the Champaran in Bihar in 1917. He started the 1917. Gandhi started the first movement at Champaran, Bihar, 1917. Here, the peasants of the indigo plantations were forced to sell indigo at price fixed by the European planters. There was a fixed amount; they can't increase the price. So, Gandhi was involved in that group. The price fixed by the European planters. The indigo planters, Indian people are the farmers, so they will not get money. Fixed price to give. They collect the British government and collecting the indigo, but they are giving fixed rate only. Even 2, 3, 4 years, there is no change like that. Or here the peasants of the indigo plantations were forced to sell indigo at the price fixed. Gandhiji protest against price were very low. It was against protest against this and forced the government to increase the price. He forced the government to increase the price. The planters brought indigo from the cultivators to give more money to the cultivators. So the government agreed. In 1918, Gandhi led the workers to the mill textile. 1918, other fighting for the workers, the textile mills in Ahmedabad against the mill owners, because they are the mill owners had raised the wages of the workers. They have to raise the wages of the workers. The workers, they are not giving money. So this also Gandhi led the people against the millers had to raise the wages to work. Gandhi also involved himself with the peasants of Kaira in Gujarat. His agitation forced the government to suspend tax collection because the crops had failed in a year. And also he was some tax collection, tax to give the taxes to when sometimes they failed the crop, that also they had to give tax. Gandhi was again protest against this also. He forced government to suspend the tax collection. Now let us go to the other point. Monday just reform. The Lord Monday and the person that Lord just reform. Monday was the State Secretary of India and also the Viceroy of India. The two persons, though they reform, they are gathered together to form reforms, popularly known as the Government of India Act on 1999, popularly known as the Montagu Chemical Reforms. Some of the important features were as follows. Some of the important reforms we have to listen here now. First one, the Central Legislative Council was made up bicameral. That is, it would consist of 2 houses. How many? 2 houses. The Imperial Legislative Assembly and the Council of State. There are two houses, Imperial Legislative Assembly and the Council of State. Elected members now form the majority in both houses. No significant change was made in the power of these houses. Second was the system of hierarchy or dual government was introduced in the provinces. Dual government was introduced in provinces. The state subjects were divided into two, reserved and transferred. Subject like finance and the police which the British considered more important, were put the reserved list. Okay, they were under control of the governor and the council. The subject like education and public health, which the British considered less important, where the responsibility of ministers who were responsible to the legislature, real power thus remained the British officials. Real power the British officials, they all gathered, but the real officials present the British officials. The act, this was the dual government. They are given equal important to give the equality. The system, this system or the act disappointed the Indians. This were disappointed the Indians. Protest broke out all over the country against these reforms. The people will not accept it. In March 1999, the government passed the Rowlatt Act. The government passed Rowlatt Act. Under the government would arrest anyone without any warrant. The police can arrest any people anytime without any warrant or imprison without any trial. This further aroused the public anger, led the mass demonstrations. This also the mass demonstration. The countrywide protest was organized on 6 April 1999, which was observed a National Humiliation Day. It was a National Humiliation Day. It was also some important the history of the Indian history. The Monday resolved the reforms. Okay. Now let us get the other important part. Jallianwala Massacre 1919 Massacre. Jallianwala Massacre. In Punjab, police arrested two leaders who are there, Dr. Sheoganj and Dr. Satyapal, on 10 April 1919. On 13 April 1919, festival of Baisakh was being celebrated. This day, the people gathered in the festival of Baisakhi, one festival. They gathered together in the one park. Then in Amritsar, called the Jallianwala. That place name is Jallianwala. The peaceful gathering was attending. All people are gathering. They are listening the speech. One big park, and the most people, men and women and children, all gathered together. It was a very peaceful meeting. The peaceful gathering was attended by men, women and children. General Deer, the military commander of Amritsar, came to the park with some soldiers, and they blocked the entrance. The people can't move outside, so they blocked the entrance park, and then ordered his men to open fire. They shot the people within 10 minutes. The thousands of people died. They killed thousands of people, and hundreds of people died, and thousands of people they injured. critically injured. It was known as the Jallianwala Massacre. The people come outside, they can, because they closed the entrance. There is no door to outside. So all people inside, they killed all the people. This shocking incident resulted the widespread protest across the country. Everywhere in protest against this problem. All nation leaders condemned. All the nation leaders condemned this cowardly act. And Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood, and the government declared military law in Punjab. People were torched and newspapers were banned. Newspaper also banned. All this repression, however, further strengthened people's determined to fight against the oppression. Also, this is the fight against the oppression. Now, let us see the next point we have to study. Khilafat movement 1920. Khilafat. What is the Khilafat movement? Khilafat movement was organized by the Ali brothers. There are two brothers, Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, in protest against the injustice done in Turkey, which is the in Britain, fought against the Britain after the First World War. Turkey was important to the Indian Muslims. The Sultan of Turkey was most the Khalifa was the head of the Muslims. So it is the Muslims asked the government to organize to give. They have the head of the Muslims throughout the world, and Caliphate leaders put pressure to British government to give better treatment to the Turkey. They are pressure to the government to better treatment to the Turkey. Though through this demand, Muslims were drawn into the national movement in large numbers. This movement became a part of the national movement. The Congress leaders joined the agitation and popularized it. Okay, this is a Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement was organized by the two Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat, because in protest against the injustice done on Turkey after the First World War. Turkey was important to the Muslims because it was the place of the Sultan of Turkey was also Khalifa. Khalifa was the head of the Muslims. That is was the British government, the Muslims forced or they treated, give better treatment to the Turkey. They give advice or take decision or demand Muslims to better treatment to the Khalifa. Now, we have to study the Khalifa movement. We have to study already. We have to study now. Next point. Now, we have to study the non-cooperation movement 1919-1922. Non-cooperation movement we have to study. The Congress decided to start a non-cooperation movement under the leadership of the Gandhi against the rigid attitude of the British. The movement aimed at the protesting against the British repression in Punjab and their policy towards the Turkey. It was also the attainment of the self-government. Now the Congress decided to start non-cooperation movement under the leadership of the Gandhi. They started the work together, cooperation with the movement from 1920 and 2022. They decided under the leadership of the Gandhi against rigid attitude of the British. Their movement aimed at protest against the British. Now what? Let us listen. Start a movement. The movement started the living up of the honorary titles received by the Indians from the government. Gandhiji gave up the title of Kaisar Hindi. This was the followed the boycott of school. Now the people are the second step they took that they boycott the schools, colleges, legislative, law courts and also elections to the legislative. People were asked not work and not cooperate with the government in any manner. Not work and not cooperate with the government in any manner. The foreign clothes they were not burned with. Foreign clothes were burned, public bonfire, and strikes were organized at many places. Many places they avoided foreign clothes, and also some places for those places shopping also they stopped the shops also. The constructive programs. Many constructive programs were also launched along with the non-cooperation movement. We are studying a non-cooperation movement. First one, popularization of charkha and khadi to all over the world. Charkha and khadi popular to spread everywhere. Charkha and khadi. Promotion of Hindu-Muslim unity. Promotion of Hindu-Muslim unity and abolition of untouchability. Abolish to give up the untouchability and spread the education to give the moral education. For the education, without education we have developed the country. So Gandhiji give more promotion or more advices to all the people. The movement was supported by almost all the sections of the society and was a big success. You say big success. At the Congress session in Ahmedabad in 1921, it was decided that last stage of the movement would emphasize the non-payment of the taxes. The government was supported almost all the sections of the society and was big success. It was Congress session in Ahmedabad in 1921. It was decided that the last stage of the movement would emphasize non-payment of taxes. Non-payment of tax, thereby defining the right of the British to rule over the India. This plan, however, could not be implemented due to the unfortunate incident and Chauri Chaura. Now let us study withdrawal of the movement. Withdrawal of the movement 1922. Withdrawal of the movement. Chauri Chaura was a small village in Uttar Pradesh. On 5th February 1922, on 5th February 1922, a crowd of peasants, a crowd of farmers was leading a protest march through the village. The police beat a volunteer picketing shops. This agitated the peasants and they set fire to the police station. 22 people, 22 policemen died. They started the fire. What happened? They agitated the peasants and they set fire to the police station. The 22 policemen at the same time 22 policemen died. Mahatma Gandhi was strictly ordered against this violence and he immediately withdrew the movement. He said, if you don't like the violence, don't fire. So he was withdrawn from that movement. He doesn't like to go to the he was a non-violent man. So Mahatma Gandhi was strictly against any violence and he immediately withdrew the movement. Now let us we have studied the main points today. First one is the early companions, the early steps of the Gandhiji, and we studied early companions. We studied the Montague reforms and Jallianwala massacre, then Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement, constructive programs, and last we have studied the withdrawal of the movement. So now let us conclude here. Thank you very much for watching the video.